Hey everyone, I'm Justin from Dollarwise Gamers, and this is Dollarwise Bundle Breakdown. Our philosophy is that for a game to be a Dollarwise deal, you should get roughly 1 hour of enjoyment out of it for every dollar you spend on it. Humble Bundle is a great way to get some cool games for cheap, while supporting charities and developers. I currently choose to support Doctors Without Borders. Today we're going to look at the Humble Sierra Bundle Strikes Back. We'll check out each tier, what games it offers, and whether or not we think it's worth it. There are time codes in the descriptions if you want to take a look at any particular game or tier. And with that, let's dive in. The first tier starts at only $1 and includes the games Space Quest Collection, Phantasmagoria 1 and 2, Police Quest Collection, and Shiftlings. Space Quest Collection is a single-player classic point-and-click adventure. It's released by Sierra, and it released in late 2006. It doesn't have a Metascore, and its user is 8.2. The lowest price we found was $4.99, and that was in May of 2012. Since it's a collection of 6 different games that released at various times between the late 80s and early 90s, and this is a truly classic point-and-click adventure game. For the earlier games, they don't even have point-and-click. They actually have a keyboard command system where you actually type out your commands. If you're going to play it, I recommend playing it in legacy mode. It doesn't change too much, but the first one that originally released in 1987 is the re-released version of it, which you'll actually see here. The games gave me a good reminder of how unforgiving these games used to be. One wrong step and then bam, you're dead. Alright, Phantasmagoria 1 and 2. Both of these are single-player, full-motion video, classic point-and-click horror games. They were both developed by Sierra, and the first one came out mid-95, and the second one came out mid-96. They don't have any meta, and the first one didn't have a user score, but the second one does have a user score of 6.5. The first one's lowest price was $2.49 in June of 2015, and the second one, its lowest price was $1.97 in August of 2016. So Phantasmagoria, both of these, were my first foray into the world of point-and-click horror games. That was when I was younger, and as such, they did have a pretty strong impact for my love of the genre. The acting and writing has not aged very well, but the simple gameplay made for games that one could easily delve into. On their own, these two games make the first tier worth it, but be warned, the quality of the full motion video and the acting is generally subpar, but the horror and the ambiance is interesting. Alright, Police Quest Collection is a single-player point-and-click detective adventure game. It was also developed by Sierra, as with many of these games. Came out late 2006. Now that's the collection came out late 2006. Much like the first collection, many of these games came out in various times between the late 80s and early to mid 90s. It has no meta, its user score is 8.4, and its lowest price was $2.49 in June of 2015. Now, due to the classic typing mechanic on these late 80s adventure games that I mentioned before, I definitely prefer point-and-click aspects of the third and the fourth installments of this series. The audio quality is a little rough. They did record a lot of the audio stuff later on, and they didn't really patch it in because that type of thing didn't exist, but they did re-release the game with audio instead of just the text version. Basically, what I'd really like to see is I'd love to see a remaster of these Police Quest games, because I thought that they were awesome. They focus more on procedure for police and less on like the action and everything, which I think that there's probably a genre for that. Finally, Shiftlings, which is a single or co-op action-adventure puzzle platformer. It was developed by Rock Pocket Games. Early 2015 is when it released. The meta is 70 and the user is 6.2, so not terribly great. Lowest price was $4.94 in March of 2016. And this game had quite a few good graphics options. It's kind of a cute platforming game. It might be fantastic for co-op. I would probably recommend this game for people who want a simple co-op puzzle game, especially since you can play it online. I was pretty impressed with it. So I always enjoyed a number of games at this tier, and there was a large level of nostalgia dripping on this tier, but with Shiftlings rounding out the tier, it's a definite buy. The best price for Shiftlings is well over $1, and for this tier, it makes it a terrific deal, and you might find some interest in the classic point-and-click games that are also featured here. The second tier is based on average donations. It currently sits at $9.78 and includes the additional games Arcanum of Steamworks and Magick Obscura, TimeShift, Quest for Glory 1 through 5, and Gabriel Knight 1 through 3. Arcanum of Steamworks and Magick Obscura is a single-player open-world classic fantasy RPG. Its developer is Troika Games. Mid-2001 was when it released, a meta of 81, so very, very good, and a user of 9.0, so that's pretty awesome. Its lowest price was $1.19 in May of 2016. Now, this game was tough, but it seemed pretty interesting. It's pretty classic stuff. Nice music, voice acting for some of it, and it was pretty solid. Not 100% sure what I was doing or where I was supposed to be going, but I liked the concept. But I doubt many would put forth much effort outside of nostalgia for a game like this. Keep in mind, this game's over 15 years old, so there's probably a call for some of these types of games, but I wasn't feeling it myself. Next one's TimeShift, and this is a single or multiplayer action sci-fi FPS. Now, I didn't actually check the multiplayer. It's possible that like servers don't exist or anything for this anymore, because it did come out in late 2007, and the developer was Saber Interactive. Its meta was 71, user is 7.6. Lowest price we could find was $4.99, and that was in September of 2012. It feels pretty good. Shooting didn't feel quite as satisfying, but I'm sure this game looked good for 10 years ago. Some of the textures were pretty flat, but I thought overall, and considering the time when it came out, it did look good. The gunplay felt a little dated, but if you played this game and you want to revisit it, it's almost worth it, but only if there's another few games at this tier. Quest for Glory 1 through 5 is a single-player classic point-and-click RPG adventure. It was developed by Sierra in late 1989. So no meta or user, obviously, because this game is so old. $3.29 is the lowest I found in August of 2016. Now, I recall actually playing the first game as a child, but as with several of the other games in this bundle, they're banking much on the desire to play these for the nostalgia factor. There's good ideas there, namely the fact that it's a point-and-click adventure game with RPG elements, and you can see them sort of embracing new technology as the years kind of go on, the games kind of develop and change, but they all sort of suffer from the same frustrating gameplay that make many of these games unapproachable today. For instance, that typing mechanic to kind of give commands. Finally, Gabriel Knight 1 through 3. Okay, Gabriel Knight, all three of these kind of went through transitions as they all kind of released and changed over time, so get ready for this. Okay, so the first one, Sins of the Fathers. It's a single-player classic point-and-click adventure mystery. It was developed by Sierra Online, came out late 93, no meta, no user, lowest price is $149 in December of 2013. The second one is called The Beast Within. This is also a single-player game, but it's a full-motion video point-and-click adventure mystery. Came out for Sierra Online mid-1995, no meta, no user, $149 is the lowest in April of 2014. And finally, Gabriel Knight 3, Blood of the Damned, is a single-player classic point-and-click adventure mystery, but this one's 3D instead of the 2D ones that the ones had been before. It's developed by Sierra Online in late 99. Now, its meta was 80 and its user's score was 8.8, so that's pretty respectable. $1.49 in April of 2014, so not too bad. Now, in the first one, the voice acting was a little rough. There was some really creepy writing, especially right at the beginning, which I don't give these games much more than 15 to 20 minutes to really get going. There were lots of little struggles with movement, but really this is just games of the time. The second game, it was interesting that they went with the full motion video after the first game, and these kind of remind me of the games that I sort of played as a child, so there was a nostalgia factor to it, but the frustrations with it, the confusion, I really couldn't get into it, and they felt clunky. They felt undeveloped. Like they could have done more, but they didn't, either budget or whatever it was. Finally, the last one, the third one, it had a lot more graphical settings, and it's very possible because it's an older game running on newer hardware, I couldn't play it. It actually became unplayable because of the graphical settings. But all in all, there's not a lot to find interest in, and I really wanted to because I remembered good things about that first game. So many of the other point-and-click adventure games from these time periods did it better, and they didn't have that creepiness that the first one had, and you really wouldn't find that kind of stuff in games today. Now, I can't in good conscience recommend this tier. I wanted to, but there isn't a lot here. All of them seem unique, and there may be a few of you out there that might have great nostalgia for these games, but for people that have never tried them, I probably wouldn't bother. Now, the third tier requires a donation of $15 and includes the games Caesar 3 through 4, Geometry Wars 3, Dimensions Evolved, King's Quest Collection, and Velocity 2X. Caesar 3 through 4, both of these are single-player strategy city builder simulations, and they were developed by Impressions Games. Now, here's the thing. I couldn't even get 4 to run. Every time I tried to run it, it would just crash. So I don't know, again, if that's an issue with older game on newer hardware, but I wasn't going to mess around with trying to figure out what I needed to do to fix it, so this will only include Caesar 3. But it's important to keep in mind that you're purchasing a game that it's possible you might not be able to get to run without some heavy work. Caesar 3 came out mid-1999, has no meta, user score is 8.7, and its lowest price was $1.49 in April of 2014. This game does not run well on modern PCs out of the box. The audio was hinky. Whenever you would change graphical changes, it would pop you out of the game. You know, it's a sim builder back before sim builders became the amazing things that they are now. It was good in its time, not really worth it nowadays, especially with some of the audio issues where it would just continue to repeat things. Instead of reading through the entire thing, it would repeat about every 5 seconds the exact same thing it just said. And with the fact that Caesar 4 couldn't even launch, it kind of runs it down. Geometry Wars 3 Dimensions Evolved is a single-player and it's a multiplayer twin-stick shoot-'em-up action arcade game. It was developed by Lucid Games, and then it was also developed by Asper for Mac and Linux. Came out late 2014, its Metascore is 79, and its user is 6.2. The lowest price I actually found was 0, so I assume free in April of 2014, so not too bad. My brother was a huge fan of this series on the Xbox console, and I'm sure I probably would have done better had I been using a controller, but I have to say that despite this not really being my type of game, it played well, it was responsive, and it grabbed my interest. This game, unfortunately though, probably isn't worth the $15 price point on its own. The King's Quest Collection is a single-player classic point-and-click fantasy adventure. It was developed by Sierra, and the collection came out late 2006. There's no meta for it, and the user's 8.4. The best price I could find for it was $10 in November of 2016. Now, again, these series of games released late 80s through the early to mid 90s, and King's Quest VI was my first foray into the King's Quest collection, and as such, it is the game that I prefer most on this bundle because it's the first point-and-click Sierra game I ever played as a child, so you may see me progress a bit faster with this game than with the others. Now, King's Quest VII, I couldn't even get to run, which I was disappointed because I've heard some interesting things about that game, and I really wanted to try it. I assume, much like Caesar 4, I probably could have gotten it to run had I spent more time messing around with it, but I wasn't prepared to do that. As I've said, the typing mechanic from these older games make them very difficult to play, and I really only found King's Quest VI particularly engaging. However, as it's at the $15 and above tier, I really find it hard to recommend. Finally, Velocity 2X, which is a single-player platforming action game. It was developed by Future Lab and was released mid-2015. No meta, and the user is a 5.6, unfortunately. $4.98 is the best price that I could find in March of 2016. Now, this game is solid. It's pretty, it could use some variation in the music, but all in all, it's a respectable game. I just don't like this style of game, but I'm sure there are others that do. However, since it's at that $15 tier, you'd probably be better off buying this on its own if it's a game that you kind of enjoy. And I probably would have done better. So this tier adds to the difficulty of choosing a tier. There are games I think might be worth it, but the $15 price tag makes it hard to recommend. With Caesar 4 and King's Quest VII not even working and Caesar 3's audio issues within the game, I don't think this tier is really worth it, despite having my all-time favorite point-and-click game, King's Quest VI. Now, the final tier requires a donation of at least $20 and includes only one game, King's Quest: The Complete Collection. Now, despite its name, it's actually just a reimagining of the King's Quest series, but it's not the same thing as the King's Quest collection. So King's Quest: The Complete Collection is a single-player episodic remake of point-and-click fantasy adventure game. It was developed by The Odd Gentleman, and it released in mid-2015. There wasn't a Metascore, but there was one review that rated it at a 90, and then the user score was 7.4. The best price we found was $15 in November of 2016. Now, this game is simple. It's easy to play. It's not quite point-and-click. It's sort of more like the Telltale Games version of point-and-click, but it was nice to have a modern autosave features. It was nice to have branching storylines, quality voice acting, characters that were endearing. I mean, I think I may play more of this, but I find it hard to believe that it's worth $20. And if you are interested in it, you'd almost want to buy it on its own when it goes on sale. So the final game certainly has some fun qualities to it, even if it is a pared down version of point and click, but it's a $20 tier for a game whose best price is $15. Now, $20 is pretty close to a Dollarwise deal, as the game has roughly 19 to 20 hours of content, but that's only if you play all the way through it. Okay, time for some final thoughts. This bundle could be a Dollarwise deal, but unfortunately, it's not really cut and dry. Yes, the top tier game is roughly worth $20, as you should get about 20 hours out of the game, and you'll probably get a few more hours from some of the games in the lower tiers. But keep in mind that many of these games in this bundle are from 20 to 30 years ago, in collections that released 10 to 15 years ago. They utilized game mechanics that are dated and frankly not very fun when compared to current equivalents. Unless you absolutely loved the idea of the top tier game and are certain you will play through the whole thing, I would probably stay away from this bundle. If you want to try some of the first tier at $1, that's a safe bet, and I do recommend that. Last bit of advice is, if you do choose to dive into these classic games, find a walkthrough and save often. You can thank me later. Now, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to thumbs up this video, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. If you have any suggestions for bundles, bundle sites, or games you would like to get that Dollarwise seal of approval on, shoot us a message on our website, dollarwisegamers.com, or just comment on this video. Now, I still do have a few games from the previous bundles I'm looking to give away to people. TIS 100, Legend of Grimrock 2, and Infinifactory. If you take the time to comment or email at us or even tweet at us with your thoughts on this bundle, we will randomly choose some people to get these keys. I'm willing to give them away. You guys just got to reach out to me. Thanks again, and as always, enjoy your existence.